Is mayonnaise an instrument? No. It's also the worst condiment. What do you think about the latest PS5 teaser? Look, I don't really put too much stock in any PS5 news outside of the one published article interviewing Cerny on Wired. Everything past that is rumor, hearsay, leaks. There's just a lot of information out there, and I don't believe 80% of it. And this goes to a lot of different things. There's different mock-ups of controllers that have video screens on them. There are talks about all the kinds of additional features or crazy things. There's people doing mock-ups of the system itself. The only stuff I really put full belief in as far as PS5 news so far is the kind of specs they were talking about, the fact they're going with an SSD instead of a regular hard drive, the increased power, and the fact that it is going to be backwards compatible with at least PS4. Any news past that one official actual publication, grain of salt. What first-party games that haven't already been announced will come to the Switch from now to the end of 2020? That's actually pretty tough because there's a lot of stuff already in the pipeline for Switch for the rest of this year and probably through next year that they've already announced, at least by giving us a title. There is, of course, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, we have a new Zelda coming out later this year, Fire Emblem's coming out very soon. The only series that might have a little bit of a gap right now is Mario, only because there are so many different Mario spin-offs that exist. There could be some more that we don't have quite yet coming to the Switch later. Now, as far as things that aren't announced at all, yeah, I really don't know because there's so much we already have going on. I think probably the biggest possibility aside from another Mario game is maybe some other kind of Zelda title. The remake of Link's Awakening is a really interesting kind of side thing. They don't do remakes like this super often, especially where it's not just a port job, it's like actually a full remake. But I think it does leave the door open for a more thorough Zelda experience, possibly next year, but more likely going to be announced next year, and that will be sometime past that 2020 window. Thoughts on the Pokemon press conference? What do you think will happen at E3? It was kind of a slow, boring one. Look, some of it is good news. I think a new Detective Pikachu is awesome. The idea of Pokemon Home is cool. It's just, I don't know if we needed a whole press conference to set up and talk about that. I still don't entirely know what is going on with Pokemon Sleep. I've read a few people's basic descriptions of what they talked about. It certainly seems like an interesting idea. And then a new mobile game that's more focused on Pokemon battles instead of catching Pokemon like Pokemon Go. I'll reserve judgment. It's something that I'm kind of curious about. I think we need to see how the game is actually monetized, because we know it's going to be monetized, and just kind of see what exactly the experience is for that game. So overall, it wasn't a press conference that I was like super excited by the news of. I think Pokemon Home was probably the biggest thing aside from Detective Pikachu 2. Yeah, I'm more excited for the Direct coming up to focus on Sword and Shield. That's really what I'm interested in seeing. All right, from Twitter, are you excited for the Final Fantasy VII Remake? I don't know anymore. Honestly, I was so amazingly hyped when it was announced for the first time at that one PlayStation press conference. I can't even remember how many years it's been now because we all kept asking for it for so long, and it finally happened. And now that it's finally happening, I don't really know if I want it. And it's not just the matter of whether or not it maintains like the actual tone of the original games, because I think there's going to be a lot of changes to the plot. There are certain scenes in the original game that I know for a fact will just not fly in modern game development, and they're changing the gameplay style as well, which can work. It's just at what point is it exactly what we're looking for in a remake? You know, I really liked the Resident Evil 2 remake because while it was a different play style, it still maintained that same kind of core experience of being a survival shooter with shooting aspects, and was just better because it was over the shoulder instead of fixed cameras. But with Final Fantasy VII, it's kind of turning into something completely different. And then there's the whole rumor of it being episodic, and just, I don't know, guys. I'm doing my best to not think too hard about it and just try to play it with an open mind when it releases, and maybe it'll pleasantly surprise me. What game or games are you looking forward to seeing at E3 2019? I will say the same thing I have been saying to everyone on this question, even though I know it's not happening. I want Nintendo to finally announce new Golden Sun. Just do it. Just do it! As far as things that are actually gonna happen this year, I'm hoping to see maybe a playable demo for the new Fire Emblem. I know that's only like a month and a half away, but I'd still like to learn a little bit more about it, because currently there's very little actual hard info about how it's going to play. We basically have a couple magazine articles and one big trailer to go off of. Aside from that, I think one of the biggest things actually is I'm very curious what Ubisoft's doing. Ubisoft is a company that has games that I really like, and games I really don't care about, and I'm pretty strong in both directions. And so I think one of the really big rumors going around is that we're finally going to see a new Splinter Cell, and if that is true, I want to see and possibly maybe even play a demo of that, because that would be fantastic. I need more stealth games. It is a genre that needs a lot more love than it's been getting, and that's the one last major franchise kind of still kicking around that can do that. Do you think there will be an Xbox portable console, like the PS Vita or 3DS? Honestly, no, not really. I don't think that's something that Xbox is really interested in, especially because it's a space that's kind of full right now. I mean, while Nintendo doesn't really have a dedicated portable in the sense of how like the 3DS was, the Switch basically fills that niche, and PlayStation, well, the PS Vita didn't exactly work out. So I think for Xbox, they're not really interested in trying to branch out to new hardware. I think they want to focus on just doing what they do best with home console units. And instead, the focus is on making services available so that you can use other mobile devices to play Xbox games on the go. A really good example of this is, of course, Project xCloud, which is the whole idea of being able to stream play games onto your phone. There's also, of course, lots of rumors and hopes that that might also happen to the Switch as well. Fingers crossed. So yeah, I don't think Xbox is really interested in making their own handheld. I think they're more focused on the idea of making a streaming service more so, and that's the way you get to play on the go instead. Are you going to E3? Yes. What is your fave Dbrand skin? On that note, I'd like to thank Dbrand for sponsoring today's video. They have a whole line of Switch skins that are totally safe to use on the Joy-Cons, the Switch, and the dock itself, and my favorite option right now is actually their new matte black skins, which look amazing on Joy-Cons. If you want to learn more, check out the link down below. Do you think that Witcher 3 will actually be ported to Switch, or are those rumors just wild speculation? I wouldn't say it's wild speculation, because it isn't something that's based on nothing. There have been little bits and pieces here that kind of imply that that is a thing occurring, but it does seem pretty crazy. And it's not just a matter of whether or not the Switch can run that kind of game. I think that the right sacrifices can be made, the right lower frame rate can be targeted, and it's something that could run on the Switch. The biggest thing about that seems crazy to me, and I was actually just talking about this today on a little discussion with some other YouTubers, is the fact that Witcher 3 is a big game, really big, to the point at which a regular-sized cart for the Switch isn't going to carry the whole data, and then you're going to need a really big install, and anyone that's not using an SD card probably isn't going to be able to fit all that information either. So it's something that I think, yes, is possible, but I'm curious how we're actually going to see it be accomplished from a development standpoint. And if it does happen, that's awesome, because I can't wait for another excuse to play that game on the go instead of reinstalling it on my computer. What do you think of Pokemon Sword and Shield? I don't know what I think yet. We have very little info to go on, at least right now. There is a Pokemon Direct coming up that's going to give us a lot more information. What I will say about this is that the way the Pokemon series has been going, it's something that they keep making games, and I still play them. And what I mean by that is they haven't necessarily gotten better. It's just always the same formula that I enjoy and I'm gonna go back to. And I hope that this time around is something that's gonna be a little more different, that maybe just rekindles something. I don't know, especially after the release of Pokemon Let's Go, which, yes, I know is not exactly a traditional Pokemon experience, but it gave a different vibe and feeling that I really liked, and I want to see more exploration like that. Just something that tackles the formula a little bit differently. So hopefully we'll get some more details at that upcoming Direct that will maybe change my mind a little bit which direction, hopefully good, hopefully bad. I do know right now that I am currently stuck between choosing either Grookey or Scorbunny as my starter. We'll see what their final forms look like, and then I'll decide.